I've had several people ask with the weight loss of me and everything, and I continue to tell them I had to get in better shape to coach this young team because they're going to test my energy at times. And I thought the game was again, kind of a microcosm of what our season's going to be. A team that's young, that's going to hit adversity. They have to figure it out in the middle of it on the fly. When you talk about guys that have never played at this level, let alone with the pressure of their first game. Milan Aqua and Quentin Henson, Carter Skaggs, Arinze Cheatham. But for them to hang in there and fight through all that adversity, and they had several opportunities to tank it, and they did not do it. They grinded it out. Obviously, the 1-3-1 was huge for us to get back in the game. And then not only that, but just letting us coach them down the stretch, fouling the three-point shooter, the play where they needed three to put the guy on the line. We did some good things coaching-wise, and they responded to us as well, too. So my hat's off to them, my guys, but we got a lot of work to do. And it'll be nice to get Drick Bernstein and Jeff Pollard back because those are two experienced players that we could have used tonight in this environment.
Coach, you guys were down 60-40 at one point. Halfway through the second half, you guys used a 30-10 run. And you notion the 1-3-1 defense. Arinze and Robert Franks, when they were in the middle of that, they seemed to be very active in getting in passing lanes.
Yeah, you know, I looked at we talked about this during the summer. What was the one thing that has disrupted the conference over the last 6 or 7 years? And the first thing that came to my mind was Craig Robinson at Oregon State, when he played that 1-3-1 and had those 2 6'5" athletes with Shaftenar in the middle, and everybody just struggled with it. And we're a lot more athletic, and we're deeper bench, so we put it in this year, and it certainly saved us tonight. We got to fine-tune it a little bit, but it changed the game enough to give us the energy and give the momentum in our way, because I thought we were so flat defensively. We couldn't beat them off the bounce. We weren't doing a good job of finding three-point shooters. The 1-3-1 forced us to play with more energy, more sense of urgency, and it certainly made the difference in the game.
What did you tell Malachi throughout the game? He was having one of his tougher shooting performances, and he ended up bailing you guys out in regulation and overtime with some huge three-pointers.
Well, on the quiet side of things, I told him that he needs to shoot more in rhythm, because I thought he was hunting shots. And when you hunt, you can knock yourself out of rhythm when you're trying to do too much. It's very important that you understand sometimes you need to make 1 or 2 more passes and let the ball come back to you, let the game come to you. And when he went back to that, he certainly was able to close out and hit some big buckets down the stretch. On the other side of it is, you know, sometimes I have to coach him a little bit harder, and he responded extremely well during the course of the game.
Free throws were an area of concern after the exhibition game. You take away Milan's 0 for 5, and you guys were 21 for 24. Carter with 4 big-time free throws for a kid that's never played D1 basketball. That's
a very good stat. We're an excellent shooting team. Milan, someone has to continue to work on his shot, work on his free throws, and he will do that. But we've shot him well in practice. We shoot the ball well. I'm still waiting for that game where we can get into rhythm offensively and shoot it as well as we have in practice. And far as I'm concerned, there's only been one guy, and that's Robert Franks, that's looked like in the games like he's looked in practice in terms of his ability to shoot it. But free throw shooting should be a premium for this team because we shoot the ball so well.
Speaking of Robert, he had a plus-minus of 41, and he had a double-double. So what was how much did he impact the game tonight?
You know, for losing a guy the caliber of Josh Hawkinson and wondering where you're going to get those points and rebounds, he has certainly early on answered from practice to the exhibition to a first counting game now that he's a guy that can score. And he shoots it like that all the time. And to be able to rebound like that as well, too. He had a couple of tough fouls on the big kid inside, but it's just nice to know we can get that production out of him.
What'd you tell the team at halftime to get him going and turn? Because they were struggling in the first half a lot.
You know, I talked to my staff, and, you know, it's a long season. And I made the decision. It wasn't about yelling and screaming at them because they're young. They're a young team. It was about allowing them to have a moment to themselves, number one, and coach themselves. But it was just a moment to give them confidence that we had a ton of good-looking shots in the first 20 minutes of the game, and by not hitting those shots, it gave them the momentum of the game, and it took some of our confidence away. So the sense of urgency was on that defensive end, where I thought you're going to have nights where you don't shoot it, but you can always defend. And I didn't think we were doing a very good job there. So we didn't talk a ton at half. We talked more in the huddle about the defensive side of the ball, and certainly when we switched up our defenses, it made all the difference in the world, and it really woke up and started doing a much better job.
What about Malachi's performance tonight? He struggled shooting, but late in the game he was making free throws, he was making plays. What can you say about that?
You know, what I can say about that is we came out of practice Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to play Sunday, and it's the first time we've had 5 mental practices like that, and I think I kind of warm out a little bit mentally. So it'll be nice to have a day off, prep, play Wednesday, day off, prep Friday, play Saturday, because I think they'll play with more energy, and I think they'll play with the more mental. I'm not worried about Malachi. He's a tremendous player. He's going to have nights where he doesn't shoot it well, but to his credit, he came by that bench and told me to call his number. He will make them now, and he certainly did that. I thought there was one late he could have kicked one time, but outside of that, every shot he took was the right shot, and he certainly hit some big ones down the stretch.
Coach, Franks played a huge part in that second half comeback. I believe, I'm going to have to double check my numbers, but I believe at one point he scored 15 or 18 straight points for you guys. So can you talk about, the run that he went on and what you saw from him? Well,
there was actually one time out. I have to remind my point guards that he had made that many in a row to quit shooting and give him the ball because it sounded like they lost him for some reason. But, it's been a long time since I've had a player to do that. Luke Jackson had a stretch of 29 straight points in a row in a game, and I've not seen that in a long time. For him to be able to do that, he has the ability to take over a game because he can shoot the ball so well, and he can put it on the floor. He's a tough matchup for big guys to play him. So to his credit again, I thought every shot he took was in rhythm, as I call it, whereas there were some other shots on that floor that were not in rhythm. He probably could have had another 10 looks, and as hot as he was, he literally carried us in that second half for stretches, and that's a compliment again to how hard he's changed his body and where his confidence is right now.
Dante Clark had a very hot start to the first half. I believe he went 5 for 5 from the field. So what defensive adjustments did you guys kind of make to kind of slow him down?
Well, we threw different bodies in the first half, and nobody could guard him. So we went to a zone defense, and I felt like that made him stagnant for a little bit. And then they figured that out, and they started lighting us up in the zone. So that's when we stretched and extended it and went to a different zone defense. And that one, I thought, really got them to standing around. And all of a sudden now their shots were being taken under pressure, a little bit deeper. Shot clock's late. It puts a little bit more pressure on them. The crowd got into the game. It just made the complexity of the game really different coming down the stretch, and it gave us an opportunity to take control of the game.
Coach, it looked like the last 5 minutes of that game resembled your team last year, where those kids played as hard as your team last year did. It seemed like a learning experience for them here.
It really did, and even I would even say the last 10 minutes, the way we could I don't want to use the word hunt this team down, the way we kind of reeled them back in when they got away from us. That's hard to do. And particularly for a young team with so many players in their first Division I game, it's TV game and everything, there's so much added pressure. And to be able to do that, I mentioned this to them also, it gave us a chance to grow up during the course of the game. And that's tough to do in your first game. But these guys, they hung in there, and they were able to reel them in and really close out the game, very similar to that team last year. Just keep their poise and make free throws and let us coach them, let us make the adjustments. And my bench, for the first time, being in a game of that magnitude, Ed Haskins has never coached Division I basketball, and he was spot on in all of his adjustments that he made from halftime on. Benny Seltzer to be in a role of having to run an offense based on my cue cards, and he's never done that before. They were tremendous. Tim Marion, tremendous. All of them were just calm and poised. I'm real proud of them because it's not just it's a new team, it's a new staff. So it's going to take us some time, too. But I thought they were just tremendous in the game that allowed me to stay calm and sweat just a little bit and just make the calls down the stretch. They did a fabulous job.
Coach, how do you take the momentum from the second half and translate it against your next game for Seattle U?
I think the biggest thing right now is rest, to rest their bodies, rest their mental. Hopefully, I don't know if we'll have Jeff or Drick for that game, but I think we'll have one of the two of them for the Idaho State game. But if we can get them to rest, they will play a lot better on Wednesday and even better yet on Saturday because they can get some games, get some game experience, get the nerves, the jitters out. It's a big experience again. Those guys think it's easy until they get on that floor and those bright lights hit them. And, there's no process to speed that up. You have to go through it to learn how to do it. And the fact that they went this game, they'll grow a little bit. They'll play a little bit better with each game. Then they got to go on the road and do it all over again.